of every pore. And I'm bleeding, and I'm bleeding right before the Lord. All the words are gonna bleed from me, and I'll sing no more. And the stains coming from my blood says go back home.
Welcome everyone to the AndySaysMD show. It is November 9th, and MD, by the way, is for the state of Maryland. I am not your medical doctor, and I will not be giving you any medical or legal advice, for that matter, or financial, because I don't know anything about any of that stuff. But anyway, we do have a doctor, special guest, Dr. Jonathan McGreevy, running for U.S. Senate here again. Hey, John, welcome. It is the 9th of November, and it's time to start campaigning. What you got, John?
Hello, everyone. Good evening. I was just getting my funk on like the rest of you. So, the campaign has started in earnest now. It was very serious before, but now we are really going. And already in Maryland, the dirty players have stepped up. Deals have been made prior to this. Hogan's being heavily promoted from both sides for a run for president in 2024. And right now, he's already told his campaign people to prep, and they've done it. It's ready to go, where he's going to announce he's running for Senate. Because they want him to run for Senate against Chris Van Hollen, but they want him to run unsuccessfully. This is a way for people in Maryland, the powers that be, to control who wins the race. Because Democrats very unpopular right now, as you might be aware. And they want to control both sides. The only reason Hogan has not announced it is he wants certain assurances from them, and he'll get them eventually. But he doesn't want a loss on the Senate race to affect his run for president. The deal is he runs for Senate unsuccessfully, so he doesn't put a whole lot of effort into it. But he will crowd out myself and anyone else running, and it will keep the race between just those two. This will ensure the Democrats keep Chris Van Hollen in the seat, and they keep that seat in the Senate. That's what they want. And then they will help him. Meanwhile, Hogan, who's running for Senate, can bring in all the money. They throw it at him as part of the payoff for doing this, and he gets to keep that as part. He doesn't spend it. If you don't spend it, you can run for something else and use it. Those are campaign funds. So donate to him to run for Senate. You're allowed to keep those funds, use it for another race, use it for something political, give it to another candidate, and he'll use it to run for president. This is how he's getting his start. And he will do it. This is how business is done in Maryland. Now, he's dirty as the day is long and is corrupt. And it's no surprise that he would work out a deal with Chris Van Hollen, because they've worked out many deals behind the scenes. This is all about control. And right, money is pouring into Maryland with COVID relief and infrastructure. And it's completely unaccountable. And it's going in some very weird directions just to disappear off the books. I mean, when was the last time you lost $6 billion? No, I mean, I do it all the time, but, you know, it just comes into Maryland, comes in, checks cash, goes to the bank, and, of course, it's a transfer. But where'd it go? A little bit here, a little bit here, and it goes into a very vague idea of, COVID preparedness, COVID education, or infrastructure. Infrastructure could be anything, as long as you relate it to the infrastructure. There's a pothole. Fill it for $1 billion. Oh, okay. I mean, they could start an entire company, buy all brand new equipment, set up a company, $1 billion company, and fill one pothole. Hey, infrastructure. That's how loose these requirements are for this money. It's coming in. You're not going to see any of it. I'm not. None of us are. You're not going to see any improvement from it. But believe me, it's going to get to the right spots. As an example of the right spots, you've recently been following the incredible videos and research that Alley for Truth has been doing with the Judge Newell, the suicide. They have taken over that entire area. And it's, Hogan as governor has bought tons of land. His company has bought tons of land. He openly advertised on his website, Hogan Inc., that he can help you get past all the laws, all the zoning, anything you want for a fee to buy land there. It's illegal. You would go to court for that. You and I would go to court for that. But he openly advertises for it. They've taken over this whole thing. They devalued the land, bought it up, and now they're pumping money into it to get the values up, which means their investment goes through the roof. Where's Chris Van Hollen? I mean, he's got 11 offices. Where did he put the last office? Right there, Hoover's Island. Population, 164? But we need a full Senate office right there. So, I mean, it's just, people don't bring it up. We just don't realize what they're doing. And now they're doing the same type of things, these same type of backroom deals to control both sides in the election.
Now, can't we just start throwing some billboards up and just following all this public money? I mean, there's got to be a paper trail to where we can all make some mass effort to do something like that. You think that would be effective?
Yes, I mean, the more people who know, the better. That's what they're counting on, is people don't care. You don't have the time. You have to keep your head down. This is part of what we're facing with the inflation. We went from, energy exporter, great numbers, cheap gas prices, food, everything. And remember that the last part of that was during COVID. There was a hiccup when it started, but we still had gas prices down. We still had everything going during this so-called epidemic. And then, boom, what changed? I mean, what happened? Why did it go completely the other way? And now they're talking about, this so-called administration's talking about turning off another pipeline. Do you think that's going to help prices? No, it's control. Keep your head down. Worry about surviving. Worry about putting gas in the car, feeding your kids. Worry about keeping your job through mandates or whatever. Just stay there, sit there, shut up, and we'll do what we want. And that's what they're trying to do. And the inflation's on purpose. I mentioned it briefly before. There's thousands of ships seen out in the ocean that they won't allow to come in, which would help with shortages, help with prices. They don't do that. And yet those companies sitting out there, they're not just taking the loss. They're doing two things. One, they're passing it on to us, paying higher prices. And two, they're demanding money from the government. We're actually paying to have those ships sit out there. Wow. They're subsidizing them sitting there. So our prices go higher, and we're paying on the other end, too. So, and Biden's paying it. Or we're paying it. He's just saying, okay. Yep. Doesn't do anything except mess himself on the public stage. So, I'm sorry. Yeah, Brandon. You can't spell Brandon. And the people are loving it. The problem is, a lot of the furor over the 2020 election fraud has died down. And I mean, you can't maintain that kind of momentum forever. We understand this, and there are some diehard people fighting it, and we all know, and we all want something different. But when you're trying to keep the bills paid and the kids fed, so it makes it harder to fight. That's why they're doing this. If everybody was good to go, then you wouldn't have that. Now, what's the first thing he did when the P-resident, as I say it, came into office? He cut the benefits. There go the COVID benefits. There goes the unemployment. Now, why is that? Well, he promised all of it. But if you didn't have to go to work 40 hours or plus, like most of us, a week, and you had that check coming in, you'd have time to get on the internet, find out what they're actually doing. You'd have time to go out and protest. We don't want that. So cut them benefits quick. Once you're worried about working, so they can do what they want.
Yeah, and
that's what happened.
It definitely is tough because, I mean, I struggle with that. You know, I don't do the show as often as I should, but we were just talking about that beforehand. But I was saying, like, this is absolutely important to get the message out there, just the same as I was saying with a billboard before. But, you know, I got a full-time job. I got a family. I got, some other things like running a group and trying to coordinate efforts and get to a rally and try to do some speaking and do, legal actions. It's exhausting. So, yeah, it makes sense that was all coordinated effort to cut the benefits so people wouldn't pay attention or just don't have time to pay attention to it.
Right. By the time you make it home and you've taken care of everything and you got the 20 minutes a day you get to yourself, if you're lucky, you just don't have the time. And they know it. That's why they're doing it. And they're ramping it up, and every single day is an attack on us, an attack on the country. They're doing it on purpose. It's all they do. I still know people around the administration, and that's all they're doing. Furthering their agenda and attacking us, attacking the country.
Yep.
They don't focus on anything else. Their foreign policy is non-existent, other than it's one way and we send them checks. They're letting them do whatever they want. This is going to be a humongous problem in a few years, certainly less than 10 years. They have allowed enemies to build up on every border we have, one way or another. Yeah. But it's okay for them. They're sending them in anyway.
Yeah, and the immigration is a huge problem. And now all borders are open, right? So they're doing the all vaccinated people are allowed to enter the country when Mexico, the entire time everybody was flooding up through there. So, I mean, this border crisis is exponential now.
Well, there is no border crisis. It's wide open.
Yeah.
It's not just a border. I mean, they were famous for showing that one bridge. Well, that was nothing. The people under the bridge, you'd have more than that walking across in different spots every day. Then they'll say, oh, it's only a few thousand. It was 10,000. It was 5,000 here, this. Well, now we're in the millions. But it's also airports. There are planes landing continuously, filled with so-called asylum seekers, and they're just hustled right past security, everything. They don't check them, nothing. Out the side, bus, out. Every airport. It's happening down all over. BWI. You come in off the side, boom. Many of them just go right into Baltimore. And the people coming from overseas, they're coming across, they have all the benefits, especially Maryland. Maryland is a sanctuary state. These people know where to go. There are groups helping them. You go to a sanctuary state, you get everything free. Everything's handed to you. Winter's coming, and the homeless people I work with are worried because when COVID hit, first thing Hogan did in Maryland was shut down the shelters.
Yep.
Shut them down. A couple weeks after that, he did move people into hotels for COVID, but they pulled that money and they're out on the street. But the shelters have not been reopened. And they have no place to go this winter. But you come in illegally, and many of them are vets, which is truly heartbreaking. We have families out there, kids. And the kids in these homeless families on the streets have really good school attendance, better than average. Now, why is that? Well, it's because it's warm in the school and they can eat there.
Yeah.
They're not going there for the education. They're going for survival. But if you come in illegally, you get a free apartment. Your bill's taken care of. Don't worry about that. Here's food money.
Yeah.
So it's all taken care of. And you get a cash allowance. So no problem there. So since you don't have to pay for any bills, the cash allowance gets you a nice car. I've seen so many of them down there with new cars.
Yep.
Because that $500-600 a month cash allowance buys them a new car. They don't have any other bills. So they just save it up and go pick out something nice.
Yeah, not to mention the vote. I'm sure they're buying the vote, too. Their illegal vote in the first place, but I'm sure that's part of the deal.
Well, they get their ID. They get their health. They get their apartments and stuff. And then they can get a state ID. When they go to the MVA in Maryland, they ask them if they want to register to vote.
Yep.
Just click the little electronic box, touchscreen, bam, yes. And now you're a voter. They're not even saying, are you a citizen, this, that. They just ask you. If you click the box, they give it to you. They're not even asking anymore. So they're all getting it. And they have multiple sets of ID. It doesn't take that long to get them. It's getting bad. Now they say, oh, excuse me, you have 10,000 people came across the border. Well, we're a big country. But they all go to these small areas. They're being actually trucked to small areas, bused to smaller areas. We talked about some of these little towns like Coopersville and Millersville and stuff on the Eastern Shore where Newell was. You realize these towns, the entire town, only has 200-300 people in it. Well, if you send in 500 illegal aliens that never have to work, well, they just took over because they can vote you out of anything. And that's what's happening. A lot of them are going into the city, but they're specifically being sent to basically Republican areas. Hogan is doing such a wonderful job that our 3 westernmost counties in Maryland want to secede from Maryland. Great job. Thank you.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right about the sanctuary state part. I mean, not that it's not completely obvious for everybody, but I think I mentioned before with Sheriff Jenkins. He's part of the National Sheriff's Association. He's the sheriff in Frederick County. And he has gone out to the border a few times, and he said everyone is coming to Maryland. Like, we're, I think, third highest in the country for illegal immigration. And he's but one sheriff and can't stop it. But people are very aware of what's actually going on, then we can do something a little more effective than just a couple people. And I think mostly it's going to take a lot of civil disobedience rather than the legal action, which there has to be that. We have to keep the pressure on these elected officials, especially in Maryland, from all fronts. But at some point, there's going to have to be tons of people that just do not comply.
I'm going to walk around all day yelling, the rent is too damn high. Yeah, I love that. That guy's awesome. But right now, there are illegal immigrants going to Pennsylvania. When they hit Philadelphia, the city of Philadelphia, under the orders of the Pennsylvania state, are putting them on a bus and bringing them to Baltimore. Other states are bringing them here. They're dropping them right off. So even when they get disseminated by the PU residents administration, they are, going to different states. Those states are shuffling them around even further before they grow roots, as they say, because they don't want them there. They are getting everything free, but it's taking money away from their pet projects. And people are like, I don't care as long as I got my benefits. Well, there are people in Baltimore, people throughout Maryland, color doesn't matter, but they have benefits. Their own benefits for one reason or another. Well, you're going to lose them. You're not going to get your increase. They're going to be cut. Just a couple of years ago, I believe it. I mean, it was cut from like $185 for food for a single person down to $15 for the month. Good luck, Here's a hot dog and good luck, lose weight the rest of the month. So They're already cutting people's benefits to give it to the new people. So you will be losing something. It does affect you.
Yeah.
And you say, oh, well, I've got my house, I got the apartments, things like this. Great. They're taking them. You're not getting approved anymore when your new application goes through because they want this new demographic in there. So you will be affected. You just haven't seen it yet.
So how do we get you elected, John? Do we have to break the algorithm still? Or we have to fix all the elections and all the bullshit that goes on with that before you get a fair shake?
Well, as far as fixing the 2020, we should never stop acknowledging it, never stop fighting it, never stop fighting for the truth of what happened, because everybody knows it. People in Congress and Senate, they don't care because they've already positioned themselves for what's there now, this so-called president there. They've already positioned themselves for it. And the way they look at it, because I've talked to some of them, they don't care because they don't care who voted for who, what kind of fake vote you got, where it came from, because VP Pence authorized it, made it official, and said he won the election. That's what they cared about. That's what made it illegal and official in their mind, and they don't care about the rest. Because they believe that, Brandon could have gotten 0 votes, which he probably did, but he could have gotten 0. And if the vice president stood up there and said he won, that's what made it legal.
Yeah.
That's how they look at it. So we can't stop looking for the truth, can't stop exposing it, but time is moving on, we're moving on, the election is coming. So we're not going to be able to fix everything, and we cannot live in the past there as much as we'd like. If we go back and freeze time, we'll take care of it, but we can't. I'll work on it later. But we can't do that right now. We are moving towards another election. And if they can get the supermajority in this election, we're truly done. And that's what they're fighting hard for. That's why they're making these deals with Hogan to control the election. Keep Van Hollen in there because they want a supermajority. If they get that with Brandon in office, that allows them to change the Constitution. You need 2/3 to change the Constitution.
Yep.
And they'll shred it. And that's what they're going for now. So if it bothers you, great. Right now, just as an example of how they're doing this stuff, look at the bigger picture. Violence everywhere, all this stuff, and people are actually happy for a brief period with the Supreme Court, believe it or not. Because the Supreme Court is taking up right now what it means to bear arms. And you see all these articles all over the place, online, everywhere, hinting at stuff. We've already spoken to a couple of justices. We've done this. Stuff is leaked out, and they're all for it. They're for people carrying firearms. Protect yourself, the right to bear arms. And the Supreme Court's going to uphold it. Well, whoop-de-frickin-do. Because after this election, we should have had it anyway, but after this election, they're going to take the Second Amendment out. If they get the supermajority, it's gone. The Supreme Court's support of the right to bear arms is all smoke show. 1, you have it already. 2, they're going to support it to make themselves look good, and then if they get the supermajority, they're taking it out. It doesn't matter what the Supreme Court said, it's gone anyway. So that's why they're doing this now, make themselves look good. It's all just a show.
Yep, get out the popcorn.
Yeah, they are desperately trying to control every election they can. And now you have, instead of just people in the Congress and Senate, you have state and local, things like that. They are positioning themselves. They are working on the basis of this corruption. They're working within the corrupt system to benefit themselves. And that's what they want.
So how do
we cannot...
How do we get you in there?
If we cannot get, going by the 2020 business model, I would say 3 people can vote for me and the rest of you just buy a Xerox machine. Let's do this. But that's what they did then.
Yeah.
Rent one truck and drive it all over Maryland, counting those votes over and over again. But we can do better than that. We have to. If you think 2020 was bad, if you think what you're doing now is bad, where every day you wake up and gas is higher and you're a broker, then wait till you see it then. Because right now, as bad as it is and getting worse daily, you can fight it. If they take over to 2/3 in 2022, that is just under a year away now. You won't have any rights to fight it. You're just going to take it. You want $10 a gallon gas? What are you going to do about it? They say that now. Then you won't even have any rights to do anything about it. They're taking up the right to bear arms, while at the same time they're seriously restricting ammo. It's just a show. You have it now. They're just playing games. It's a stall. Oh, let's all wait. Oh yeah, let's wait for the Supreme Court to make a decision. The bastards can't decide what they want for lunch without a 3-week notice. And yet, we're supposed to wait for this one to tell us to reaffirm our own rights, as has been written for over 200 years. But they'll take a few months. They want to get past that year. They want to get past that election. They'll take a few months to make it come out. And then it's like, that's right. Ha ha, stick it in your face. We have our own rights. And then they remove it from the Constitution. Things are going to get very, very big. Think they're bad now, it's going to get worse tomorrow. And the day after, the day after. But if we don't do something, if we don't get decent people in there to stop this, then that's what they're doing. That is their goal. And they're already positioning themselves for it.
And I totally agree with the ammo thing on there, what you just said, because this was actually a few months ago. I just met some random guy, and he saw my hat, and we started to have a conversation. And he was like, hey, you know where to find any 9mm ammo? And I was like, I've been looking for it for like a couple months now. And he said, you know, I kept going to like Dick's Sporting Goods or Cabela's or what's the other place? I can't think of the Bass Pro Shop. And yeah, and he said there were people there, like employees, that said guys from FEMA were showing up when the trucks showed up with ammo and buying the majority of the ammo up. What the hell does FEMA need with all that ammo? Is that like a prelude to something?
Well, they don't want us to have it. That's the thing. And when Obama went in, they were ordering millions of rounds for like the IRS. They ordered thousands and thousands of AR-15s for the IRS. And things like this. So they tried it before. It didn't work. Now they have it. Now they're going to do it. The Democrats are loving Brandon in there because he will sign anything that's put in front of him. He doesn't know it. Okay. I mean, this historic piece of legislation. It's like somebody dropped a piece of beef jerky in front of him. It doesn't matter. But, you know, he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. But they can put anything through. He'll do it. And then he'll get the blame down the road. It wasn't me. Then they can play, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Neutral again. It wasn't me.
Yeah. But
because of that, they're shoving it through. Now, I'll tell you the other side of the ammo bit. They have legislation already written. A lot of people aren't aware of this one. This was the sneaky backside to this stuff. And most people don't know a whole lot about firearms. Fortunately, on the Democratic side, they don't know much. That's why you see these idiots with the magazine in backwards. And it's a clip. No, you idiot. It's a magazine. But they just don't know what they're doing. I remember the famous one I saw. I actually saw this one. The guy had an AR-15. And he was right. This was last year. It was during COVID. And it was snowing. COVID. He's defending everything. Well, he's out there. He's ready to kick some ass. There's riots. And he cut up a bed sheet, apparently, and wrapped it all over his AR-15 for camouflage. Wrapped it all over the thing and wrapped it around the magazine, everything. And I'm like, I'm glad you're so awesome. You never have to change a magazine. What? It's like, you know, make them count. You're only getting those. You know, and he still didn't know what it meant. Because he'd apparently seen a picture somewhere, somebody taped it, and that was fine, but he'd actually tied his magazine into his rifle. Wow. But he was ready. So they don't know a whole lot. one of the things they have, now this is already written, this legislation is written, it's written in Baltimore by Rod, but you take a modern cartridge, there's the case, there's the propellant, the gunpowder, there's the bullet that actually fires out, there's a primer. Now the hammer strikes the firing pin, or it has firing pin on or whatever, that strikes the primer. The primer is a little explosion, sets off the big explosion of the powder. Okay, that propels the bullet. The primer, what's in there is actually a high explosive. And it's very powerful, but there's only a little bit in there. That's why if you're in the reloading, you like Magnum pistol primers, Magnum rifle primers, it's bigger and much more powerful because it's setting off a bigger charge, a bigger bullet. Well, that is a very powerful little explosive in there. And there was a white supremacist terrorist case years ago where they had taken tens of thousands of Magnum pistol primers. This was for a 357. And they had taken the little caked-in powder out of these primers and made a bomb with it.
Wow.
And it was pretty good size, but it was very powerful. And the FBI learned of it. Some of the people were prosecuted. That was just one of the charges they were prosecuted for. But this particular bomb really interested them from a legal standpoint because of how it was put together. And they looked into it, primers, things like that. Now, most companies have very secret little formulas for their primers, things like that, but they're all roughly the same, and it's a very high explosive, just a teeny bit. So they've written legislation that because these primers are so powerful, having a couple of hundred of those is the equivalent of having a hand grenade. So they're using this to control storage. Okay, there's the potential to make a bomb. You have an initiator, you have the main charge. If you have 100 rounds of ammo, that's a bomb. If you have a high capacity magazine, that's a hand grenade. You can't have them. This is how they're going to regulate ammo capacity and ammo ownership again. It's coming from this angle. They're going to force regulations onto the manufacturers to tone down the power of their primer formulas, which will take you back to, say, a regular 38 or a little 32 type of thing, a very basic older style cartridge. Because they don't want you to have the powerful stuff. But this is going to come into, you cannot have hundreds and hundreds or 1,000 rounds of ammo. Even if you have 20 different guns, different calibers, you can't have it. Because now you're storing explosives. And this is already written. They're already waiting to implement this.
Wow.
And they'll wait until after, the Supreme Court says you have the right to bear arms wherever you can. Great. And everybody's walking around with a 22. Because they force these regulations onto the manufacturers of ammunition, and it's been toned down so much that it's not reliable, it's not powerful, it's not effective. Of course, the government can have whatever they want, right?
Right.
That's different, of course. But this is already done, it's already written, and they're just waiting to implement it. So we can't sit back and say, Supreme Court hearing the right to bear arms is great. Oh, it's crap, it's a show, because they intend to get rid of it. And then once they do that, they intend to regulate it. So you may have bought that 9mm legally. You may even have managed to get a permit somewhere to carry it. But if you have that thing fully loaded with 15-1 rounds of 9mm, 10mm, that's a hand grenade. Now you have an unlicensed explosive, and you're facing federal charges. And this is already written up. I've read through it. It's horrible.
Wow.
So they're already playing these games. They're already getting ready for it. And until this comes out, until they implement this type of stuff, they will cut down on ammo as much as possible.
Yeah, not like it's not hard for Marylanders to deal with the restrictions on guns already. I mean, you can't buy a high capacity magazine in Maryland. You have to go out of state, but it is still legal to possess it here. I mean, that was like when I ordered an AR-15. to be delivered to, you know, federally licensed firearm store. And they had to take the magazine out because it came with a 30-round mag, and you can't have that in Maryland. So it'll be so much easier for them to segue into more unconstitutional legislation in Maryland because people are already used to the bullshit and don't really do anything about it.
Well, you know, Maryland, you got to look for those extended 20-rounders. So, but they have really restricted it. They're going to be even more restricted. And one of the things, this is it. One of the things with this right to bear arm thing is to keep in mind, crime rates, especially in certain cities, is through the roof. It's ridiculous. I have an app on the phone of the news, and you know, Baltimore every day, shot, killed. It's horrendous. Other cities are worse, and they're going to say, "Oh, you can carry. You right to bear arms." They want more people carrying. They want chaos in the streets. I'm not talking about the person who takes it seriously, who trains, who buys the right equipment, who's respectful of the law. And they want people to just stick in their pocket. People who shouldn't be carrying. Because they want the violence to increase. This is another reason for them to, you know, stay home. They want you to stay home. Can't go to the city anymore. You're terrified. Can't work because you might get killed. Yeah. This is a way to increase violence. And it's like, well, you know, they're going at it this way. First it was defund the police. Now they're all funding the police. But guess what? The violence shot up, so I guess that wasn't the answer. See, we funded the police. We did what you wanted. We funded the police, and violence shot way up. So that's not it. It's just a means to an end. It's another way for them to get what they want while making it look good. So how do we stop it? Get people in there. That's why I'm running. You know, myself and a handful of other people have written about this 2-3 years. Told you what was coming before it hit the news because the plans were out there. And here it is. It'll get worse daily. We need to get enough people in there to throw the votes off in Congress and the Senate. It's got to stop. We got to be able to stop them. They're going to come up with every stupid idea they can in Congress, but you got some really stupid people in Congress.
Oh yeah.
But there has to be a stop in the Senate. It's got to be enough votes in there to stop it. Clearly stop it, because there's too many who can be swayed, too many rhinos, too many people who will make a deal and let something slide. You know, the first part of this infrastructure bill is in there. The next part's coming, and that's not the end of it. It's every year. You do a budget every year. Why not? But part of that is there's your money for votes. We'll give you the flat $2,000 a month to live on. If you have kids, you get more. So do it right, max out. Plus, that's on top of your other benefits. You'll be making about what, $7,500 a month? Not bad. Not too shabby. Now, if you live in New York, it's not great. But you can certainly live on $7,500 a month. I bet most of us live on much less.
Yeah.
I know I do. But who are you going to vote for? You know, I mean, you'll just let it go. Everything turns to crap. You don't have to worry. You got your money. You got your place. And that's the next part that's coming. That's the next giant multi-trillion-dollar. You know, I love it when they say, "Oh, it pays for itself." It's already paid for. Oh, really? Great. I'll tell that to the car company who financed the car. It's already paid for. I mean, we probably remember these people online when Obama was elected. I don't have to pay my bills. I'm not going to have to worry about working. All this stuff. Well, they're doing it now. They're giving them enough money. They're giving anybody enough money. As long as you keep them in power.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who you are. Here's a bunch of money. You know who to vote for. We gave you this. They want to take it away. And the thing is, they'll finance it 6 months, whatever. They'll do it quick. They want to get that through. They want that money to start hitting before the election. Because it's like, you like that money in your hand? You like that money in your bank account? Because he wants to take it away. We gave it to you. They want to take it. And everybody's like, well, shoot, I need that money. And they'll vote for them. So it's coming. It's just going to come closer to the election. They can do it now, but they'd rather wait 6 months, save the money, same effect. Why pay the extra money? It's less money they have to mess with. So it's just how they manipulate. They take your money, your taxes that you paid, and then give it to other people so they keep them in office. And we need to fight like crazy. They're controlling the election. Recently, the Republican convention in Baltimore had a speaker. This was yesterday. Mr. Tarrenton. Mr. Tarrenton is running for U.S. Senate, same as I am. He's a Republican. I don't know him personally. I only know of his background. But the Republican convention cannot do that by their own bylaws. They cannot favor one candidate over another. Mr. Tarrenton hasn't lived in Maryland his whole life. Yes, he started businesses, and that's wonderful. He has provided jobs, and I applaud him for that. But why'd you start it in Beverly Hills, California? So it's interesting. Whereas I have started businesses here instead of going to Delaware, where it's better. I have stayed here my whole life. I have lived here. I have served Maryland Army National Guard for years. The charities I work with, everything started here, even though they branched out. It started here to help the people of Maryland. So, but once again, he will disappear pretty quick when Hogan announces he's running for Senate, and that's the control they want.
So what happens with the committee? I mean, since they are violating their own bylaws, like, do they? Is there a way to rectify this? Can we get you up there so you can have your equal amount of time, what you deserve?
Well, they need to provide the equal amount of time now because they provided it to him. That is them choosing. It would be different if they had written to all the candidates and said, here's an opportunity, and, you just said, whatever, I don't want to do it. But they didn't. They picked one person. That's what they can't do. They cannot benefit a single person. They cannot choose sides. Mr. Tarrenton just registered 3 months ago. So I registered last year and announced it prior to that even, because I wanted to make sure things continued in a positive way and wanted to fight for it. He waited until the election, the shakeout, wanted to see which way it went, waited for the audits, waited for this, and then he's waited months and months and months, like, okay, now I know where it's at, now it's steady, I'll go ahead and jump in. And as I said, I don't know him. I'm not going to attack him personally. He's a handsome man. He actually was a model. But he needs a lot more than that. Okay, it's not enough. And like I said, I have not spoken with him. I don't know him personally. I'm not going to slam him in any way that way. He's done different things, and great. But you need to do them for Maryland. Everything I've done in Maryland, I wanted to set an example for everyone throughout Maryland and for the country. We can take care of Maryland. What we need now is balance. Senator Ben Cardin is there for another 2 years. Maryland needs balance. We need to stop this slide we're having into massive inflation, massive unemployment. Had to get gas. Gas was ridiculous. Driving through the strip mall, you see another store closed, another sign up, this location closed, we apologize. Again, that was just there. And everything's sliding down. There's so many jobs out there. People are in jobs. Those are drying up because places are closing. And it's another way to force, like you said, the vaccine mandates. Mm-hmm. They want you worried. They want you scared for your job. Do what they say, or we'll make sure you're fired. I mean, this has been done in different countries around the world, like debtor's prison in England. You owe a debt, we're going to prison until you can pay your debt. That's how you do that, right? You're stuck. And they knew it, but they didn't care, and that's what's happening. So, it's like they'll force the mandates on you. They're not shy about it. You know what they're doing. But now, you have any type of government service. Boom. I wrote about this well over a year ago. Any type of government service is going to be benefits anything. It's going to be tied to accepting their vaccine. And that's anything. That's school. That's job, healthcare, anything. We need protection for our people from our government, which is horrifying to say. This is kind of why the country was built, and get away from all that. We've been through this before. And our whole system is set up so that it doesn't happen, and yet here it is. We need to protect our Marylanders and everyone else from the government from these mandates, which are illegal and immoral. We need to protect our first responders, our police, our military. I get in the office, that's the first things I'll be introducing is to stop this ridiculous march. In this country, the negative effects of the vaccine are being hidden. FDA, all these different people, and it's been proven they're being hidden so that you don't know it, so you're not getting the information. Other countries have completely blocked it. They've stopped it. There's just too much damage occurring. The hospitals are stuffed with people right now who are terrified. There are people down there who they'll walk in, they want to be tested for COVID. I was tested before. I want to be tested for a Delta variant. They tested me fine. They'll go home, they saw somebody on the bus, they come back, they want it again the same day. And that's keeping the hospitals packed. There's a huge shortage in blood because people don't want the vaccinated blood. But also the surgeons, the staff, things like that, they don't want the vaccinated blood for organ transplants. And now there's different category organ transplants if they were vaccinated because they're a much, much, much higher rejection rate for organ transplants from a vaccinated donor.
Yeah, and there's a lot of hesitancy, too, because I used to donate blood. And now I don't want anybody to stick a needle anywhere close to me, and I'm not sure how ethical people are. So I'm reluctant to do it, donate blood that could help save somebody's life because of the narrative that has been created. Because I can't trust a damn thing if they say it on the news or even, a trusted source like the Red Cross. It's a shame.
Well, I went to the hospital recently. Actually, I was there today, actually. But, and before, and I went to, it was probably about 3 weeks ago I went. But today was a little bit different, but I went 3 weeks ago. And there were so many people there. Now, this was a fairly small local hospital, but you go into the waiting room, and first of all, it was packed. Every seat taken, people sitting on the floor, people standing. There was nowhere to anywhere. And over half the people in there were military uniform because they're required to get it now. But there were so many people, I was thinking, there's got to be at least 60 people crammed in here. So I went to sign in. They said there's probably about 3 times that number. There were so many people. They were taking your phone number, signing you in, giving you a number, and they would call you at home and tell you to come back to the hospital.
Wow.
There were people walking around, people walking up to the 7-Eleven because it was taking so long. And the average wait time was like 10 hours.
That's crazy.
And they actually have people showing up in an ambulance, being brought in by ambulance, checked in, and put in the waiting room.
Wow.
Because it's so crammed full like this. So, I mean, it's bad situation. Care is dropping quickly because of this. People are terrified of the disease because it's being pumped continuously. And then you have the actual results of bad vaccines, contaminated vaccines, poorly designed and rushed vaccines, and just crappy ones intended to do harm. And people know it, and they're staying away from it. And yet they're being forced even more. Now it's being forced on children who are still developing their immune system, and they have to do it. All designed to control and intimidate.
Yeah, it's terrible looking out on all of this. I mean, you kind of don't want to leave your house because of the dangers that they've posed to every regular citizen by either letting all the quote-unquote crazies do what they want to do, and that intimidates law-abiding citizens from wanting to even go to the store. Put everything online so we all have the availability of things, and even when you order something online, you'll get a message saying, "Oh, not available." Even they have that Instacart where you can have somebody shop for you. But things aren't available. I've seen so many pictures from different places across the country, like in Walmarts and all that, where the supplies are just like absolutely gone off the shelves. I couldn't find chili powder the other day. Went to 3 different stores. Wanted to make chili, and I did eventually find only spicy. But mustard, that was another thing. I know somebody that went to 3 different stores, could not find mustard. Like, when are people going to start realizing that this is intentional, for one? I mean, that would be the ultimate thing if everybody understood it was intentional. But when are people going to realize that whatever's happening right now is not working? So we need to make a huge change away from the narratives that are put out there and go back to our roots. And that goes right into your campaign of getting you elected. Like you said before, you've had small businesses in Maryland, National Guard in Maryland. Like, you spent your life in Maryland and trying to benefit Maryland, because that also benefits you, because you live here. So it's like,
I have a lot of family here. I was educated here. I've always come back here. I was fortunate to travel, either military or whatever, but I always come back here. Yeah. And I mean, I know people who have succeeded in Maryland, and it's not just this one side. I mean, I knew. Listen, okay, now I'm not going to put his name out there now, but you Google it, you can find him. I mean, he's well known now. Nice guy, big man, big guy. He's like 6'4", big barrow guy, and he was raised in a crabbing family. They're watermen, and his father, grandfather, they were illiterate. So was he, until he's about 12. And he pretty much taught himself to read enough to start doing better in school. And that set him off. He's a dentist now. And it wasn't him turning his back on what he had been taught or anything like that. He still goes out. He has a boat and he goes out. But he's a dentist. And coming from that, there's opportunities in Maryland. And I mean, he came from that all the way to dentist. And he's a rough guy. I mean, if he knows you, he'll slip back into the rough talk. But he's a nice guy, and damn good dentist. But the opportunity's there, and we have these opportunities. I mean, right now, the P resident is doing this green energy thing again because infrastructure. We got to do the green energy because climate change is coming, and cow farts will kill us all. And so. They're coming, and all they're doing is just shoving money where they want it. And there's already people coming up where they have a great idea. I did a phone app to monitor, battery usage in cellular cars or whatever. The dumbest crap, because they have their hand out and they want a grant.
Yep.
And that's where it's going. The money's coming in, and they don't care what happened at the election because they see an opportunity to make money, to get ahead for themselves. It's all about them. He wants green buses and solar buses. Good luck. Okay, most hybrid technology is basically World War II stuff. Diesel electric. Come on. They had submarines in World War II around diesel electric. But there's better stuff. Anyway, instead of getting this super green bus with solar panels on it that apparently resist bird crap forever, and road grime, and work perfectly because we live in a unicorn fart universe now, they should maybe get an extra bus line. Maybe load that bus up with people in the city who actually want a job and bus them a few blocks further to where the factories are. Help somebody get to work for a change instead of your green energy crap. It's just ridiculous. I mean, it's all just on the surface. It means nothing. It's a shuffle of money, and none of it helps anyone.
Yeah, I literally got an email from Dutch Rupersberger yesterday saying that he support.
Really?
It didn't have any pictures. Oh no, it did. And
I certainly hope not. I won't get any more detail than that. Hi, Dutch.
Well, it kind of made sense. He had his hand out in the picture. It's like, vote for me. I support the Green New Deal.
Okay, just for clarification, was there anyone standing close by that was going to put anything in his hand?
No. I think your
vote.
Okay,
all right, okay, we're safe. Okay. Sorry, people. I know Dutch. Anyway,
Oh, that's funny.
just wanted a little clarification there without getting graphic. Sorry.
Yeah, it was a campaign official email. It wasn't one of the, personal emails. But yeah, he supports the Green New Deal, and they just tell you right to your face that we don't care if you support it or not. You're in my county. I'm still going to send you the email and give me money. Speaking of
give
which,
me money, and then the money coming in. Coming from someone who's used so many batteries in their lifetime, that going green for him is probably a good idea. That's all I'm going to say. Anyhow, they're going to say, we're going green, and then the money's coming in, and they're going to use it for whatever they want, whether you like it or not. So.
Well, how do we give you money? How do we get your campaign going? What are the goals? What's your first goal? Your campaign's just started, right?
Well, it has started for this, and we've had some wonderful people help and work, and like yourself, and we've had people volunteer. But now it's going in earnest. We need there's the grievingforsenate.org where you can donate and help other people donate, and then. We are getting out publicly. I'll be public. I'm going to be at an event next week, and I'll be much more public, which is a good thing. So we need to get the name out and the recognition out there. A lot of people know me. They just don't put the face and the name together. So that will happen. It'll be a big improvement.
Yeah.
But I put it right out there for everyone, whether they like it or not. It's like I try to be upbeat. I tell them how to get past it, how we can beat it, how we can win. But everybody out there doesn't need me to tell them what a crappy situation we're in and getting worse.
Yep.
It's just past 9 o'clock. When you wake up tomorrow, it's probably going to cost you more to live. Food went up, water, gas. It's clicking up right now. And the next day, it's coming. And it's the little stuff. They're all doing this, but even if you're trying to save money and you're fixing your kids' lunches at home, the price of those went up. Keeping in mind that certain people get all theirs stuff free school lunches. And more people coming into the state every day getting it. I'm not down against the school lunches. A lot of the homeless people, that's all they get. Yeah. But it just has to be much more even, and we have to protect ourselves. You can't say that I want to be a Maryland isolationist or the U.S. is isolationist. I'm not anti-immigration at all. It's one of our greatest assets. I've always thought that we have so many people in the country from all over the world that we cannot possibly be considered isolationist, because if something happens in one little corner of the world, something breaks out, we can find an American citizen who knows that area, who can speak the language.
Yeah.
We are the complete opposite of that. And we are completely open. We're right here. This is us. We are the world. We are family. But,
man. That was shocking. I didn't know you had such a beautiful voice.
Oh, yeah. I follow the Janis Joplin rule. She was awesome. But, yeah, we have, that is one of our strengths, but the unchecked stuff that they're doing now is manipulation. It's control, and it's for a reason. And that is not one of our strengths. That's a problem then. And they know it, and they want unchecked immigration, because every day they come in, you never get everybody out. You can't. And I'm really happy about one thing, that everybody coming into the country has sworn to abstain from sex. You're not going to reproduce. The number's not going to quadruple in a few years. Of course they are. Humans. So the number is growing daily. And we're being replaced by design. I've noticed that none of these busfuls of people being taken out of D.C. or other states or New York or Philadelphia and brought to Baltimore, I noticed they don't take a left and head out to Delaware. I noticed they're not dumped in Delaware. We can't have that, can we? Wonder why. Yeah, so none of them have been dropped off there at all. Maybe they just don't like the ocean air. Who knows? But it's very plainly obvious what's being done and why. And the troubling part is here in Maryland, on the local scale, on the state scale, the people are comfortable with the corruption. They're comfortable with the manipulation, and they're positioning themselves to take advantage of it. So we're going to have to fight even harder. Never give up. As soon as you give up, it's the only day you lose.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you fight your freaking guts out and didn't gain an inch of ground. You're still standing right there, and you got another day coming. It's only when you quit that you actually lose, and they win.
So with your campaign, do you have any events that you're currently planning that you want to get out to speak at certain places, or are you just trying to mingle into events now and work your way up to, solo stuff where you're inviting more guest speakers to come in?
Definitely. There are events already planned now. I will be addressing this Republican committee here in Baltimore with their equal time, but there's an event next week. There are events planned, and I will be going to them, and then there are some speaking engagements planned. So it is building up, getting the recognition, getting up speed. We need campaign help, not just a donation, but actual physical campaign help, staff, things like that, volunteers. I've had some wonderful people already do that, but we need more.
Yeah.
And we just need better management, and we need to stop what they're planning for 2022. We don't need all the money pouring in. There's enough. It's just that they keep taking so much of it, nobody's getting any of it. We need better management of what we have. We need better management of the opportunities. We have people who generally want to work, not just in Baltimore, but throughout Maryland, and yet they can't get here. I mean, there are people who want to apply for a job. I mean, I know broke, okay? I know when you can't afford the gas to get 40 minutes away to your job. Okay, I know when a flat tire is terrifying because it will set you back and ruin everything that you're barely hanging on to. Okay, I know the stuff. And we're at that situation now for everybody, and it's getting worse. So that's broke.
Yeah.
And
terrible.
we're getting worse by design. But there is opportunity, there is stuff like that, but we're not connecting to people. The people who need it, the people who want it, are not being connected with it. And that is also by design. They want that. They'd rather you just give up. Get mad, give up. And that way they control it. Then you have to take the government handout.
Yeah.
You have to take it. And then they got you.
Well, how about other candidates? Do you have anybody lined up or people you've talked to that you actually endorse? Or people that you might want to say publicly that you want to speak to? Is there any comment on partnering up with other candidates or other people in office that you like?
Oh, yes, sir. There's very good people who are trying to run. Tim is, of course, running. He's running for Dutch Ruppersberger's seat in Congress, and he'd be fantastic in there.
Yeah.
He ran before, did very well. There's Dan. I'll probably butcher his last name, but yeah, I'm gonna tear it up. What's his last name? How do you pronounce it?
Oh,
Dan.
What, Cox?
No, I can pronounce Cox. No. Mixed martial arts.
Oh, you mean Kyle? Kyle for governor? Sefchick?
Yes.
Yes.
Sefchick.
Yeah, Kyle Sefchick. That's why I was like, Dan, wait a minute.
I was like, not Dan, the other one.
Yeah.
No, not Dan.
Yeah,
no,
Kyle
no,
Sefchick.
not Dan. Sefchick, I knew it. Sefchick, I was close. But unfortunately, Kyle was facing the same thing. Now, you want to fight, he's the guy to go to. He's not afraid of it. But he's facing the same thing with Doug Gansler. Doug Gansler is, of course, a fairly well-known name. He's the Attorney General for many years, especially under Marty O'Malley. And he has been tapped by the powers that be to be the next governor. And they're just throwing the connections at him, throwing the money at him, stuff like that. They want him in there. So do the Republicans. They don't look at it as a loss because if they support him through there, he supports them on the other end. The Republicans, for the most part in Maryland, are weak. They're deal makers. They're trying to make things better. They're trying to keep their position. They don't want to stick it up and say, we're going to change stuff. No. They'll say, well, I'll work with you here as long as you leave me alone and I get a few bits, something over here. Yeah. That's what they want. And where powers that be have tapped Hogan, they've tapped Doug Gansler. Now, actually, Doug is a decent person, actually. And he's no friend of Rod Rosenstein, which right there is points in my book. And there were projects in the past that we had worked on, and he helped, even when it was detrimental, or even when right in the middle of an emergency, and he actually helped. He put it out there and did good. So, between him and Rod, definitely take Doug. But Rod, I wouldn't elect him to inspect used condoms. Okay, while he's handcuffed. Screw it. I wouldn't elect him nothing. But he's a piece of crap. Anyway, everybody knows how I feel about Rod.
Yeah, you don't have to inspect him anyway. You just shake the fuck out of him.
Well, handcuff him and he has to inspect each one. But he's garbage. Yeah. So he's been. It's coming out now. There's actually a group of people, very talented people, that are investigating all of that, and they have wonderful people working there. They really do, and they found a great deal of stuff. They've corroborated so much about him, and he's been covering up crimes for a long time.
Oh yeah.
And we are working to expose them. I'm actually involved in several different legal actions now, all geared towards exposing these people. And it's funny, one they just never saw coming. So, and it's actually one that's very big on the internet right now. People just don't realize it. So, wow. But it's coming out. I have filed in that particular one, and it was accepted, and it will be on Pacer soon, and I'm sure it will be all over the internet shortly thereafter. Bitcoin. But
we all know who that is, right?
I have no idea. No. But see, my thing is, and they're taking this very seriously now. I won't name names, but I've talked about this in the past. I'm sure everybody knows where they manipulated cases by hiding child porn on the computer, and showing bridges. Oh, sorry, that's a name. Damn.
You have to use the term ballless turds, okay?
That covers so many of them, though.
You have to speak about them generally.
Anyway, these ballless turds would plant child porn on a computer, find it, and then manipulate the case. Now, they were manipulating the cases. Now, see, this is what I just put into the court. And they were like, yeah, we agree with you. They took the child porn images and videos, put them on the computer. That was to manipulate the case. The end result was they wanted to seize the assets. They wanted the Bitcoin, they wanted the money, they wanted the cash, whatever, the property they could sell and run through Bitcoin, launder it. But that means they profited from child porn and disseminated it. So not only are they dealing in it, they're guilty of trafficking because they profited from it. And under Megan's Law and others, they have abused that child again by putting the image out there again.
Wow.
Okay, that child was abused again. All these children were abused again. They use it like a commodity, a knife to stick in and twist. But each time they do that, they're hurting those children again. And I don't tolerate it. So they trafficked in it, and I want them charged. And the court has agreed. And you'll hear about it soon. And you'll hear this sound. That's all their ballless turd sphincters loosening at once when they realize what they're involved in. So that was pretty accurate. I practiced.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Almost like you're singing.
Yeah. Thanks. It's a gift. Don't be jealous. Anyway, see, I know how to get funky. But it's carried out, and they are guilty of this. I mean, anytime they use these images or video to manipulate a case, and we all know where it goes, they're guilty of trafficking, of dealing in it, of profiting from it, and of abusing these children themselves. And nobody's attacked it from this direction before. Well, they're about to. So it's going to get real interesting real quick.
Yeah, and
because the people I've talked about many times are guilty of it.
Yeah, and exposing that, well, one, would be great for society to have people believe that something is happening, that justice is coming. And also, secondarily, it'd be great for your campaign. It shows how much of a patriot you are. It's like public record, plain as day. I mean, of course, the news won't report it. Maybe. I don't know. Probably not. They don't report anything. But at least we will report it. I'll dedicate an entire show to read the lawsuit or the charges, at least.
You might since this is a mixed audience, ladies and gentlemen, you might not want to read my letter I put in, or bleep some of it out, because I was vivid. I had the court documents, the forms, and then I had my own letter I put in with my feelings. And I captioned it by saying, I am not an attorney. I'm well educated, but I'm unlearned in the law. And then I launched into it. So I didn't hold anything back.
I can imagine.
So it's interesting. But
I hope that goes up on the fan site as well, so other people can take a good look at it.
Really will. I mean, I had suggested that, crimes against children, there are two sentences. First one, 20 years, labor. If you survive it. Second occurrence, execution. Thank you. I don't play games with that stuff. Having worked and been forced to deal with child sex offenders in the past, I can tell you that the one reason the recidivism rate is so incredibly high with them, higher than anything else, is because their biggest fear before they're caught the first time is exposure. They don't want their family, their friends, their coworkers, their neighbors. They don't want them to know what they really are. But once they're caught, once that's over with, once they're in prison and back out, they don't care anymore. Everybody knows.
Yep.
So that is the one thing that frightened them, and it's gone. So why not? They already know. That's why the recidivism is so high. That's why they won't stop. And once that one thing that held them back is gone, they don't care anymore. And they get much more violent. There was one, he was horrible. He was a repeat offender since he was young. Each one progressively worse. He was in prison, a 12-year sentence, for the last ones, where there were several boys and girls. And he sat in prison, not reformed, not rehabilitated. He sat in prison blaming the children, of course. Now, most of them feel that they're doing something good for the children. That the children, even if they don't understand it the first time, even if they don't like it the first time, the children don't understand they're doing something good for them. See, I mean, that's how they see this. And he blamed the children because if they had loved him as much as he really loved them, they wouldn't have exposed him. He wouldn't have gotten caught. So he sat in prison all this time designing ways to get rid of the bodies because the next time he wasn't going to leave them alive. And he actually designed, I saw his drawings. He had a van, he had an RV with soundproof compartments underneath where he could store the children as he went across state lines or whatever. And if there was a problem, he could flood the compartment with the exhaust or with halon, things like this to suffocate them quickly so they'd be quiet, like if he got pulled over.
Wow.
Because he wasn't going to make that mistake again. It wasn't his fault he got caught. It was their fault because they didn't love him as much as he loved them. And he's not going to take that again. So, and this is what they are. They don't care anymore. Once that first one's gone, this is how bad they are. This is why they should not get out.
Yeah, I totally
agree. People can
agree.
forget the stuff. The stuff people say constantly. I see it online, and people put it in the responses to different questions. Wait till he gets to prison. They know how to handle that. Guess what? There's so many of them. They have their own prisons, like Butner
Wow.
down there in the Carolinas. Look up Butner, federal institution. It's all sex offender. They're not going to be in there with the gang members and this and that. There are sex offender gangs that run the prison. This whole prison is sex offenders. So it's not like they're going to be in there and be tortured and beaten to death every day.
Wow.
They're all like that. There are several federal prisons who are just sex offenders. Butner is one of the biggest ones. And that is everything from low, medium, high, max, everything. It's all sex offenders.
Wow.
That's how bad it is. So they're not like in there like, oh, I never want to go back to prison. Oh, I barely survived, or anything like that. It was horrible. No, they're in there with their own kind. They swap stories. So when this is taken away from them, that and the first initial threat of exposure, this is why it's so high. You need much stricter penalties, much stricter. It's interesting that you can't force a violent child rapist or even a child murderer. You cannot force them to be chemically castrated, but they can force you to take a vaccine or lose everything, right? So it's kind of weird.
Yeah, that is absolutely weird. And I had no idea about Butner or that there were prisons that are solely sex offenders. I mean, you hear all the time that it runs rampant throughout the country and throughout the world, but I didn't know there were prisons that were pretty much dedicated to that. That's very discouraging.
Well, there are prisons where they weren't dedicated to it, but the runoff is so bad that the worst ones are kept at, say, Butner, and the rest are in other prisons. And it's become 70-80% of those prisons. Wherein they've actually had prison fights and stuff like that where the sex offenders are tired of being treated like crap for the other 20%, and they've tried to take over.
Wow.
But yeah, look up the Butner Federal Institution. Yeah, there are many of them like that. It's all sex offender.
Wow.
So yeah, it's that bad. But they can't force that scumbag, child rapist, murderer, to be chemically castrated, nothing like that. But they can force you to take a vaccine. Keep that shit in mind. It's horrible. This is what we need to protect our citizens from, our first responders, military, especially, because if it keeps going in a few years, we will have no frontline defense. That's just not going to happen. So they need protection now.
Absolutely. And man, it's a lot of truth that you always throw out there, John. I mean, this is crazy. And everybody, I encourage, if you want to win big in your state, in the state of Maryland, vote pig, right? So that's the slogan, and the campaign website is mcgreevyforsenate.org. That's MCGREEVEY for Senate, FOR, for Senate.org. So please, everybody go there. Donate if you can. Donate time if you can. Like John had said before, need volunteers, need to get his platform built up so he can speak to more people and get out there to a larger audience.
Definitely. I appreciate everyone's help. We need to do it. It's not just for me. It's not just so I can get the job and help. This is for us, our state, the country. I did have another slogan. If you vote pig and we win big, I'll wear a wig. But it was too big for a T-shirt. So, but
I'd like to see that.
I wore one as a Halloween costume one time. I found this horrible brown toupee that was probably older than I was at a Goodwill. So that was my Halloween costume. Hi. And I went around holding it, acting like it looked good. like I didn't know I was wearing it. Yeah. So.
Hey, you might win the race like that. I mean, people love to laugh, right?
It's just confidence. Certainly. I mean, I try to throw some humor in and everything because the situation's bad.
Yes.
And there's this crap where they try to divide us. I go to the store, I go to Wawa, and I got people, I hold the door open for anybody, man or woman, and nobody's ever said, you racist pig, sexist. Nobody's ever said it. I say, thanks. And they have a slightly better day. And I got people, any color, any person, anybody holding the door for me, I come out with coffee. And, I mean, it's this crap you see on TV. They're trying to divide you, but daily, it's not like that.
Right.
And there are some idiots. And you'll see this. And I see it with comments online. People post the horrible racist stuff. And it's not helping anything. But that's not how the daily life is. We're all living in Maryland. It's getting worse. And we're all suffering. If you think it can't get any worse, picture it 10 times worse. Where you will lose your house. Where you will be kicked out of the apartment. Because they want to raise the rents, almost double the rent because the government's paying that much in rent for rent subsidy. They'll get rid of you and put that in there because they want the money.
Yep.
It's already starting. It's just going to get worse. So we have to stop it. Keep 2020 in mind. Like I said, we want to run a transparent campaign. And we can't have that anymore. But Maryland, here they are. People are already positioning themselves to benefit from the corruption. They got their picks in. They want to control both sides. And we can't let them do that. Because, again, 2022, they get the majority, then it's done. Right now, you have the ability to fight. You have the rights to do so. They're going to take them. They've already said it. They've already started talking about it. So.
Now, with your campaign website, are you going to be posting all the events that will be upcoming once they're finalized, who you're going to be speaking with, stuff like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it'll be updated much more frequently now with the as scheduled, as we schedule with them and as we get confirmations back when we're on, when we're up, and where I'm speaking, if it's televised or if it's radio or what. So that will be updated much more frequently and more as we go.
Are you looking for any specific volunteers for like specific jobs? Like, do you need somebody that, like, does merch or something like a design or anything specific that you can think of right now that maybe somebody in the audience listening could say, oh, I know a guy,
Definitely.
or I am a guy?
Definitely. T-shirts are always good. The banners, the small yard signs. Of course, Barry Glassman has rented every billboard again. He has a permanent contract. He owns most of those. So that's why he's getting them. He bought them years ago. But yeah, we do have to advertise. We have to get the name out. And it is a statewide endeavor. It's not just running for Congress where it's one area.
Right.
So we do need people to help design those. I like it simple and everywhere. I don't do elaborate. I don't like wasting money, and there's just not enough of it, and it's disrespectful to do so because I always can find somebody who needs it more. So we're very careful about the money we get and the money we spend. But we need more of everything, more talent. We will need people who can make calls, people who can do office work, things like that, who can answer phones and organize, schedule. And we've had people sign up, and people who are very talented, and they can't just afford to quit their job and do this. So we do need to help them when we do it. Some of these are paid staff, and I understand that. They're talented. They need to work. They need to pay their bills. So and then you have like Chris Van Hollen, who has multiple websites. Anything he's doing now gets its own website because they're just throwing money at him. So any little thing he says is a website. So and he's got multiples up because they have that kind of money to burn.
And there's
So,
what's the best way to get in touch with your campaign or with you, say somebody offering a service or something like that?
initially, on the recruitmentforsenate.org site, there's the email, the basic email. That's the first step to contacting. And then everyone goes over it. I go over most of them. And then we can contact you from there. So.
Awesome. And it does work, guys, by the way. That's how I got in touch with John the first time we spoke or had correspondence. So it does work. He does go through them because he messaged me back.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Well, I've had people write and ask different questions. You from Maryland, and how do you feel about this, this issue, that issue, things like that. And I've written back, discussed it. There were a couple of people right where I was checking it, it popped up, so I answered them like, "Wow, nobody's ever answered that fast." It's like, oh, phone app, I'm right here. But yeah, it's me. So we do go over them. I go over them, and we have a couple people that help, but we need more. So.
Awesome.
We don't have many people running for Senate on the Republican side. We have one gentleman who I believe is 17. He's a sophomore in high school. Now, he can register, but he is too young to run legally, so he can't do anything. There's Mr. Tarrington, who I said I don't know personally, but hasn't done a whole lot for Maryland. And then there's me. That's it for the Republicans right now. That's all there are. There are about 11 people running for Democrat, but it's just for their resume builder because they have an incumbent. They have Chris Van Hollen, and he'll get their nomination because he's the incumbent. Yeah. So they just put that on there to generate some money. If they get any donations, they can keep them, and it looks good on their resume. So it's really just three of us Republicans. Of course, Hogan's going to try, but right now there's three Republicans. There's one who, personally, I believe he's not qualified and hasn't done much for Maryland. One who is 17, he put it on to look good for college, and there's me. And I am qualified, and I've done everything in Maryland. Yeah. So let's do this. I want the job. I can do it right, and I'm trying to be hired. This is not something to win. This is not a contest with a prize. It's a resume. It's a job application. You're hiring me, and I'm going to work hard. I've started stuff with nothing before and won. I've done stuff and done well. I've built everything from nothing with no money. So I can do it. Here we are. Let's do it. We need to. This is more important than me. This is more important than a job for me, more important than a Senate seat. This is for our survival, all of us.
Yeah, and I think that making that point and beating that into people's heads is the biggest thing, is that there's a lot of people that do understand that we are in a survival situation, but not enough yet. So I think we should really promote that, is that what you're trying to achieve is fundamental. Taking it back to the fundamental characteristics of freedom, liberty that we're supposed to be experiencing. Just even you saying transparency. I mean, a lot of people say transparency, but I mean, you're a very matter-of-fact guy, and especially when you speak. So I think that will speak to people as well, how blunt that you are with some of your deliveries.
Give you the truth. You need it to make the decision.
Right.
You can sugarcoat, you can twist it around. They play their word games. They're experts at it. And I can see through all that. I'll decode it, and I'll tell you what they're saying, what they actually mean, what they're actually attempting behind the scenes. I'll tell you that. But they don't want you to know that. They want to dress up. That's why you're getting these enormous bills to sign, 1,000 pages plus, because they hide it. That's them playing word games. They don't want you to ever be able to find what they're actually doing. And that has to stop.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there, I know you wanted to not do a 3-hour show tonight, but is there anything else that you wanted to cover, or you want to skedaddle?
Well, I think we covered
Yeah.
as much as we can right now. I don't want to tire everyone out. Everybody knows that the campaign's coming, and we've had supposedly a Republican win in Virginia. And, now you got people saying, hey, Republicans can win. So you're going to see people signing up to run. It's like, well, when did you make this decision? I mean, a year later, when you see how the wind blows, that's pretty weak. But, and now we have some of the old names coming out of the woodwork. An old judge running for attorney general, this type of thing. And I would think that's a conflict to myself. I mean, if you presided over a case as a judge, now that you're attorney general, someone appeals an issue in that case, how?
Yeah.
Would that be a conflict? I'm not a lawyer.
Kind of sounds like it should be, at least by common sense standards.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, how could you? I mean, you ruled on it. When are you going to turn around and say, well, the judge in that case was an idiot? I would stand up and say, I agree, but, it was you. So it's just, these are the games they play in Maryland. Just because it's the same anointed people over and over again. And, you'll recognize her name, and you look it up, and she's connected to a couple of political families. I'm out again. Excuse me, it's dry in here. And, they had their shot. They got their promotion. They got their big position. Now they want more. Now they feel time's right to come out of the woodwork and get another one. Why? Why can't you give someone else a shot? Do you have all the ideas? Did you fix everything before and these are new problems? Because it looks like we're experiencing the same problems every year, every decade. So what did you fix before? And now you want another shot. You were there for 20 years. What did you fix? And now they want another shot. Why? Why give it to them?
Yeah.
What did they fix here? What did Van Hollen fix? Nothing. Vacationed. Driving around. Didn't usher anything. Barely voted. Didn't do anything. Didn't help anyone in Maryland for COVID.
Yep.
Nothing. Didn't even provide information. Sat back and let Hogan do it all. And we know what he did. So what kind of qualification is that to keep the job going? Because you're already there? Every one of you out there can be fired, removed. I mean, just remember that everybody out there listening, if you're a job, your school, someone at your job, you are completely replaceable. Doesn't matter who you are. Somebody can replace you. You can be replaced tomorrow. But you are absolutely indispensable and irreplaceable at home with your family. Okay, they can't survive without you. They can't do anything without you. That's why it's so hard when we lose someone. So, take care of your family, take care of yourself and your loved ones, and make sure they're safe. Jobs will come and go. I mean, look how your job is being threatened now with the government. So just, a little perspective.
Yeah.
Look at where you were loved and absolutely irreplaceable, and realize the other ones are tenuous at best, no matter how hard you work. I mean, we've seen it. There are people who work 30 years, and they know it inside and out. They're professional, but they'll hire somebody much younger because they'll work for a fraction.
Yep.
They'll just hire 3 of them. So it happens, but not at home.
Totally agree. Well, I hope this video gets out further. Guys, I will be uploading this to my Rumble. It's rumble.com/user/AndySaysMD. It'll probably end up getting on John's fan site, which is John, JOHN, here to help.info. So you guys can check out the fan site, which is absolutely awesome for the people that created that. Good way to catch up on John's record, what he's talked about for several years. And you can find video there probably in a few days or something like that, but I'll put it on my Rumble. Share it. I appreciate all follows, subscriptions, and stuff like that, but that is not what I am here for. I'm not, I got a job. I'm just trying to get the truth out there. John was deplatformed from Twitter, where he had about 1 million followers, and it's absolutely terrible. So we're going to keep this up as long as we can until I get banned from everything. And yeah, check out the videos. We got a couple on the Rumble, rumble.com right now. And yeah, thank everybody for coming. Thank you, John. Thank you for sticking your neck out there, even through all the crazy, crazy shit that you've been through. It's truly an honor to, build a friendship with you and hopefully get you into office so you can do your best to fix Maryland.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. It's really humbling. I mean, people know some of my background, more is coming, and they know the stuff I've been through, but it's truly humbling that people would pick me to represent them. They would trust me to do that. And I don't back down. I mean, you can tell this stuff happened years ago, and I'm still fighting. So I don't stop. And when I'm elected, I would think positive, but when I'm elected, I guarantee that everyone up there is going to suffer me because I'm not getting in there to be comfortable, and I care not one bit if they like me or not. I'll tell them the way it is. So they will suffer my election for sure, and I will call them out at every turn. And I would tell you that I will make them look as dumb as they are, but they do that themselves. So that's the easy part. I cannot believe that some of these elected officials put on little cartoons. They do this. They do that. I mean, they get up there and act like they're a valley girl. I mean, you are representing people whose lives are affected by your actions, and you act like that.
Yeah.
I mean that's just sickening. And it's infuriating, but I will enjoy rubbing them the wrong way as often as I possibly can.
Yeah.
So they will suffer my 6 years. So.
And I'm just looking forward to the debates. I mean, no matter who you debate, I mean, I gotta be there. I gotta see what happens, especially with a certain few, if that does come to fruition.
Yes, well, I mean, there will certainly be debates down the road as we get closer. But if any of their team research my background or look up any of the stuff on the fan site, like that, I anticipate a lot of people just calling off or, he's got COVID this week. He can't make the debate. It's like, yeah, that's what I thought. So, but yeah, I've known many of them one fashion or another for many years. And even up at Hillendale, cough, excuse me. And they really don't want to come out. And so I know how this stuff works. They want to come out and they'll talk to you first. They're like, come on, you know how it works. I'll stay away from here. You stay away from that, and we'll get through the debate, look good, and the chips fall where they may. And it's like, I don't care what you stay away from. All my crap's out there. I'm being attacked constantly, so I'm putting yours out there.
Yeah.
So if you walk on the stage, don't be surprised if I bring records or pictures or stuff. So, because I don't care if you walk off stage or not. I'm not here for you. I'm here for people of Maryland. And they deserve to know. I'm not going to hide your dirty secrets. That means I'm as guilty of them as you are. No. Tough. So, let's do this.
They'll say they do call out of a debate or something like that. Is it unethical for you to debate with like a cardboard cutout of somebody just to make the statement? I think that would be appropriate to do if they don't show up. We could just have, a podium with a cardboard cutout of Larry Hogan or something, and you can just end every sentence with, "Yeah, that's what I thought."
I'll get my sock puppet. I'll just get a bunch of white socks and write their name on it. And there you go. And they'll be like, so, Governor Hogan, would you like to address this? He'll just sit there with his mouth open. That's what I thought. Oh, I have no problem doing that. He wants to run and hide.
Yeah.
But that's because you should.
Yeah.
You're running and hiding because you don't want your own actions out.
The truth ain't pretty.
And, no, I will put them out there. Don't bring carbon into this, okay? So, but excuse me. But so yeah, no, it's going to be interesting. I'm not sure it's crap. I don't do that. I don't tolerate that. I can't stand that stuff you do, and I'm not going to hide it for you because I'm just like you. I'm just as guilty of it. So I'm not doing that. If you have a problem with it coming out, don't debate me, because I promise I'm going to stick it someplace unpleasant. I don't care if you moan or not. Okay. So
that's
yeah, I'm not shy. So
very vivid.
I can yes, but I can discuss any of the topics. We need protection for our citizens. The healthcare is in ruins because of this mismanagement of COVID. There are doctors out there now. I mean, long-term patients, but they're difficult patients. A patient that takes more time, a patient with a difficult diagnosis, a patient with difficult prescriptions or larger prescriptions. The doctors are like, "You're going to take the vaccine? No, you're done. Boom, bye." And that's a reason for them to cut them off. And people are losing care. They're not being treated at all. And we need protections from this. So I'll discuss any of the topics. You want to discuss infrastructure? Great. Most of the roads suck. You know, you can definitely tell the border between Maryland and Pennsylvania when you drive up there. Roads change.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot of problems. I mean, the Port of Baltimore can handle more, but it's being stopped.
Yeah, all those super cranes down there.
Well, the cranes, we also have the deeper water that you need for larger vessels. But we can do that. The Port of Baltimore is built for it. We've spent lots and lots of tax money, your tax money, to do that, and they're not being utilized. Man, get a bunch of longshoremen and turn them loose. Those dudes know how to unload everything.
Yeah, well,
That's what they do. They know how to kick ass. Turn them loose. Just pay them. They're working, but they don't want to do that because they want those shortages.
Yep.
So I'll discuss any topic you want. I'm qualified. Let's do it. I don't have to turn around like Hogan and look for experts. Okay,
Yeah.
let's do it. But I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to play the word game because it looks good on the news. It's like, you want a soundbite for the news? Look for a gesture. I'll give you one. Okay, so I'm not worried about your sound bites. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not holding back. This is survival here. This affects what family I have left. Most of it is in Maryland. So I will protect them like I will protect you. Because what I do affects them and you.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that's why everybody, responds to you as well, like to the way you speak, because people want to hear the truth, even though it's not always pretty, but there's a good bit of people that just want that transparency. They want it raw, no pun intended, but
Can we leave Dutch out of this for once, please? Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's refreshing. I think you're refreshing to people. You're certainly refreshing for me to have conversations with. I mean, we usually just laugh half of the time anyway, so that gets the endorphins going and all that stuff. So that's what we need, though.
I do that. I mean, I have the academic background. I can get all nerdy. And when I get into it, I can shut off everything else and concentrate, just get obsessed about the problem in front of me. And it was a problem when I was younger, because that's all I did. School. But, school project. But you get older, you can control it. But I can use that. It's like, don't hand me a 1,000-page bill, because I will get through it. And I'll remember that. And I will shove it right back on you, because I can digest that stuff. So those tricks aren't going to work on me. You think you can bury it, I'll find it. So it's where it was a problem when I was younger, and I never slept, and I had insomnia, because I would just get obsessed about the stuff, and I'd focus on nothing but that. Now I can switch it on and off, but use it as a benefit. I'm an adult. But I can use that to help. I can get through the paperwork. I can get through the legalese. I understand it. Not a lawyer, but I understand it. You don't have to be a lawyer for this one. They love to make it more complicated, so you don't understand it. You read a paragraph, you're like, because it's just so dry and boring. They do it on purpose. and that's got to stop. If they were so intelligent, so right, so awesome for the job, why can't they explain it to the average person? I mean, why? They can't? If you understand it so well, you should be able to explain it to a normal person who's sitting in a diner.
Yeah.
But they don't, because it's on purpose. I can read it, I can explain it. Why can't they? Because they don't want you to know. They just want you to shut up, stay scared, worry about everything, let them do whatever they want and take your money. And that's got to stop.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have time for a couple? Well, there's one question in the chat right now. So do you want to answer? The question is, one. So far, I mean, we're really opening things up for questions, but if you want to answer it, go for it.
Since you snuck through, sure.
Yeah. So it's a question that I have no idea about, but were you an associate professor at Perelman? I guess somebody researched your name. I have no idea about that.
At what institution?
Perelman. Perelman. Is that a familiar name? I don't even know what that is.
No.
No?
No, but if they owe me money, I'll take it. No. I did. I was very fortunate to teach in different places, but that does not ring a bell. I'm sorry. Apparently, I'm not even sure where it's at. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah.
But no, that's not me.
Okay.
I am working. I'm very fortunate. I'm working with the DoD and the 5th Regiment Armory, and they found quite a bit for the military and government side of things. I'm working with the educational institutions, and they actually take a good tact. Not only are they digging through records and things like that to find, all their stuff. The biggest thing that they did to really destroy my background wasn't just they destroyed or whatever. They told them that John McGreevy had died, that I was deceased, and that Ryan White was a different person. So they're like, oh, well, if he's deceased, they'll get rid of it. So they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't do it to a person who was alive, But since they were deceased, there's no harm. They destroyed a lot of it. So anyway, the educational institutions are digging everything up. They found quite a bit. It's good. We're rebuilding it. But they're also getting affidavits from people who knew me. People who knew me then. A lot of people are still alive, of course. I'm not that old. I'm only in my early 50s. So they're getting affidavits from people who knew me in professional settings. So that's very helpful. That was really nice of them to do that. They're really helping.
Yeah,
so we'll be able to supply those as well. And that was real nice of them. But no, I don't know the institution. I'm sorry. But thanks. I do appreciate you asking.
Yeah. Did anybody have another 1 or 2 questions or so? Because it's 10 o'clock. We got to let John go. Looking in the chat now, seeing if anybody comes up with it. But again, the campaign website, guys, McGreevyforsenate.org. The fan site also has a link to get to the campaign site. That's johnheretohelp.info. I put those links in the chat. And, I'm wondering if... No questions right now. Somebody said they're reading your obituary.
Yeah, there are ones out there. There's a couple different versions, actually. And you used to be able to find it on Find a Grave, where there wouldn't be an actual site, but the name would come up. So, depending on what link you can find. Because there's something about when they did it, they had to publicly proclaim it or something. So it did go into certain databases. So it does show up here or there. But that's how they were able to destroy so much. If they had said, because they tried to charge me with identity theft, and the one judge in the very beginning wouldn't allow it. But using that, they had said that these are 2 separate people, Ryan White and John McGreevy. And John McGreevy's dead, Ryan White's using his stuff. So that's how they were able to do it. They said, and these people said, well, since John is dead, we can go ahead and destroy it. There's no harm to him. We wouldn't do that. But being deceased, not a problem. So they actually removed me from the Social Security rolls as well at the same time.
Wow.
So I had to fix that. But yeah, they weren't kidding around.
Wow, yeah, they definitely made you disappear.
They did their best.
Well, there are a couple more questions, and then we'll end with that. I'm not sure specifically what this is talking about, but the questions, the first question is, have you done your testifying yet, and are you safe? That's a relative question, I guess.
Yeah, well, like I said, there are a few court issues that I'm involved in now. So have I done some testifying? Absolutely. Safe? No.
No.
That's highly relative. I am now involved in 3 more. So there's several that I'm involved with now. So I have testified, I have provided information. As far as safe, who knows at this point. Threats are still coming.
Yeah.
People are still threatening, documented threats. They are being looked into, but safe is relative. The better question, I guess, or a better answer I could provide you with would be we are being extremely careful.
Yeah.
Just by habit and by necessity.
Yep. And final
Thank
question.
you for asking about safety.
Yeah. Yeah, it's above all. We got it. I mean, you ain't going to get in office if you ain't safe or something happens. So you getting out more publicly hopefully will help alleviate that. And us doing this little thing and doing more campaign things, I think can help that as well. So we just have to plaster his face everywhere but a milk carton, right? So
that'd be great. No, I mean, I always try to look on the bright side. So even if there was an assassination attempt and I was left completely brain dead, I'd probably only get 80 or so million votes. So, I always try to look on the bright side of things.
that is it. That's the silver lining there. Great. Maybe we'll control the voting machines by then.
There you go. What was the question? We can take that. It's kind of them to ask.
The last question is actually from somebody that I've spoken with personally. He's a producer, and he's in the chat right now. And his
look, I told you before, how I pay for college is my business. I don't do that anymore. Okay?
He's actually he's done some great things and he enhances whistleblowers primarily with a lot of the stuff he does, and he has great rapport with Tori and has worked with Tori and helped her out.
I read your email, sir. Yes.
Yeah.
I did. I read your email.
Yeah, and he wants to do a documentary with you. So would you be willing to, I guess, publicly say that that's something you want to discuss and maybe...
Oh, I'd certainly be able to discuss it. I'm certainly open to discussing it. And, of course, that is publicity.
Yeah.
The documentary, if we could start off in, black and white, give it some tone, a couple of crows flying overhead, because it's Baltimore and Ravens, but it's mysterious. Yeah, that'd be great. I have a few ideas. No. But, no, I appreciate the offer. And I did read your email, sir. Certainly discuss it. Tori is awesome, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. She's the inspiration for me modeling a show basically the same type of way she does it, I guess, in some form. And you're the catalyst for starting a show because of how you've been deplatformed, and I know you've been spitting out truth the entire time, so just trying to get it out there. So. But yeah, that would be awesome.
I'd like to talk to him. I'd certainly want to talk to you about it, and I always admired artistic ability in people. It's very humbling for me, the artistic ability. My family had it, my siblings, my little brother, who is now huge, but he'd draw freehand, he'd draw monsters and things like that. He could sell them to comic books, and
wow.
my older siblings, entered contests, and they could do it all. They acted and sang and theater and TV commercials and sculpting and painting. I got none of that. I got like erotic stick figures at best. So I just never got any of that. So any kind of artistic stuff, it's always very interesting to me because I just don't know much about it. As long as everything was geared towards the campaign, because Like I said, I am not nearly as important as doing the job right. It's not about me. It's about saving Maryland and protecting the people in it. That's what I'm good at. So as long as the documentary was, about me up to that point, and let's get it done for Maryland, great.
Yeah.
But if it's just about me, I don't, pump myself up. I don't do that. I don't brag about it. I believe humility is a very precious trait in people. So I don't do that kind of thing. I'm not on TikTok, so.
And barely on Telegram, so hopefully we can help with that too. I don't know. Well, maybe you could get a volunteer from your campaign to help with stuff like that. I don't know. Just an idea.
Sure. People are very good at social media. Like I said, the Twitter was the first social media I was on.
Yeah.
Didn't even have Facebook other than one Facebook page for a lawsuit that I filed in Baltimore against Hogan and all the others.
Yeah.
Hogan's going to have a difficult time answering questions when I'm up there because I have signed letters from him addressing the issue that he has then come out since and lied about. He's like, well, there's your signature. Must be a different governor.
Yeah.
So.
All right, we'll let you off here. Thank you again so much. Everybody check out the fan site, the campaign site. And
thank you very much.
Hopefully Broken Anthem, and you guys can work something out and see where it goes from there.
I did notice that while we were talking, a couple of donations have popped up, and I really appreciate that. And people are listening, they are contributing, they're doing what they can. I know money's tight now, believe me.
Oh, yeah.
It's the only kind of money I've ever had. But it's greatly appreciated and very carefully used for the betterment of everybody. So.
Well, thanks again. Yeah, we're going to end it there, guys. We just hit the 2-hour mark. Yay. And we're going to end
we're so good at keeping it roughly an hour, so.
Yeah. It's fair. That's how time works. So, all right, we're going to end it with Tom McDonald's Canceled. Everybody knows that song from listening to Tori. So, thank you all so much for coming and watching. Please share the video with everybody you know so they can wake the fuck up. All right, guys. Good night.
Good night.
I can't be canceled, there's no way that you can stop me. I'm fully independent, there's no label who can drop me. Y'all been starting rumors, let me help you with some. Yeah.
He's a racist, he's a sexist, he's in love with Donald Trump.
Y'all can't cancel me, my life is scandal free. There ain't no sponsors taking losses cause the brand is me. My hands are clean, my family and my fans agree. Y'all can't cancel me for facts because you're mad and weak. Go ahead and tell the world I'm ugly and racist. I braid my hair and I don't care about cultural appropriation. I moved to the ghetto, lived in the ghetto, there's no Caucasians. And still I loved every single one of my neighbors. How's a man say I'm clickbait if he gonna use this face to get clicks on his page? Y'all hypocrites are made. But I ain't tripping about these bullies, it ain't 6th grade. Go ahead and diss me trying to sell a couple mixtapes. I'm not afraid, take my face and my name, paste it on the front page. I'm already famous and you'll never change it by hating or claiming you'll take it away. My grind wicked, write my rhymes different. You can try to quantify defying limits. There's a dying gimmick and denying winning. This is pure fire, this ain't white privilege. I do what I want, get all the Gucci and Louis Vuitton out of my closet, out of my crib. I do not want it, that is for kids. That is for rappers who ask you to produce their beats for free, pretending online like they rich. I am not playing it safe, I said what I said, it is what it is. I don't care if you mad at me, okay? Go ahead and change the channel. Don't waste your time trying to cancel me. They love me cause they know that I'm it. Say what you want, I guess it is what it is. Haters can talk, but they can't cancel the kid. Go ahead and go off, try and say this is it. But I swear to God, you can't cancel the kid. Everybody Everybody knows my name, from local folks to global fame. I'm vocal about the social justice movements. I expose the fakes, turn rappers into ghosts and graves. Make no mistake, they bones will break. I'll throw them in the wolf enclosure, slowly turn and close the cage. Acres full of sheep, you know that I'm the only goat. I'm great, they spoke my name to mostly hate. I don't complain, I'm woke, I wait. A total focus soldier, wrote the art of war, know every page. I'm numb to all the dumbness, smoke tobacco laced with Novocaine. I won't behave, I stoke the flames. I'll choke their throats with golden chains. Use vocal cords as skipping ropes and jump till I am soaked in brains. From open plains to coastal waves to solar rays in open space. Can't find nobody doper unless you poke your veins and snort cocaine. Whoa, y'all can't cancel me. Just get mad that I'm the man until you smash the screen. Like, whoa, I can handle heat. I walk through hell in open sandals drinking gasoline. Yeah, I could've been a star, could've had a mansion and a car and a Grammy album on the charts. I'm a savage, Randy with the bars. I don't rap about Xanax, goddammit, can't cancel facts. We need answers, championing trash to the masses actually massively damages, yeah. Keep trying to cancel me, yeah. I own the masters, so yeah. I make the beats, I write the songs, I own the cameras, yeah. I could've been famous, dumb my music down till it's basic. Get it on the hottest Spotify playlist, modify my catalog and go mainstream, yeah. I don't care if you mad at me, okay? Go ahead and change the channel. Don't waste your time trying to cancel me, okay? They love me cause they know that I'm it. Say what you want, I guess it is what it is. Haters can talk, but they can't cancel the kid. Go ahead and go off, try and say this is it. But I swear to God, you can't cancel the kid. I feel like all these rappers lately on a mission. They starting drama, they don't really want no problems, so they talk in whispers. Don't even start, no competition, y'all are finished. They say they feeling froggy, but I bet none of these frogs gon' rib it. They think I'm soft, but I promise y'all that I'm solid like a rock inside a Teflon box and dipped in carbon fiber liquid. I'm not religious, but I walk with Christians. If Jesus died for all my sins, he'd need 1,000,000 crosses tall as buildings. Y'all can't cancel me. I'm a god and you're the devil, stop attacking me. Like, whoa, nails in my hands and feet. Y'all some snakes, I don't need fruit from that apple tree. I ain't doing features or buying beats. I'm a wolf, I don't lie with sheep. I am what I am, and I can't hide my teeth. Way too many rumors, I'm like, who said it? Never met him, if he dissed me, probably about to drop a new record. I do what I want, don't matter if I get approval or not. Y'all ain't gonna cyberbully me or try to push on me until I'm becoming some dude who I'm not. Head full of ludicrous thoughts, producing the songs. My music is truth and you brutally shocked. I'm shooting my shot, I'm Biggie, I'm Shady, I'm New School Pac. Go ahead and call me a piece of garbage, make a starving artist your primary target. I'm the largest monster in the farthest darkness, and my claws are sharpened, I'm an army sergeant. If people wanna hate, then I'm grateful. It's only gonna make what I say less painful. Look at my face, embrace, I'm unstable. I ain't gonna break or shake or feel shameful. I don't care if you mad at me, okay? Go ahead and change the channel. Don't waste your time trying to cancel me, okay? They love me cause they know that I'm it. Say what you want, I guess it is what it is.